Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sis Table Talk. You are going to
여유롭게 달려와 내일은 더 빛나지 당연히 내 삶은 shine like a diamond 괜히 해서 뭐해 걱정 I got no worries.
Good evening. I am your host, Monique Denton, founder and CEO of Embrace Your Cake, also of Sisters Inspire Sisters. We have a wonderful special Black History show for you this evening. We have two amazing founders of Black Genius School. But listen, I want to tell you a little bit about Sisters Inspire Sisters. This is what we're all about. We are 1,000 Black women that will empower 1 million globally. I have my fabulous co-host tonight, Miss Sandra Cheney, also a member of the Sis Network. So we're going to jump right into this conversation, find out what Black Genius School is, what it's all about, and why it was started. Sandra, can you just go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Monique. I always enjoy co-hosting with you. So I am Sandra Cheney. I am a 8-time best-selling author. I am a certified empowerment coach, speaker, and business strategist with a niche in nonprofit. And I'm so excited to hear from these amazing guests today. So I'm going to turn it over to them to introduce themselves and just, share what they want to share from their heart before we jump right into this amazing conversation.
Sure.
So ladies.
Go ahead, Tremaine.
Okay. Hi, my name is Tremaine Williams, and I am co-founder of Black Genius School with my lovely sister, Charity Goodwin. And Black Genius School for us is a passion project, if you will. It found us during the pandemic. Like most people who have children, our children were at home. And during that time, Charity actually moved in with me because she was relocating to St. Louis, where we're from. And our kids they had all these like packets. I don't know if anybody else had that. These little packets of work. My daughter had workbooks. Her children had packets, and we had to just get them invested in doing that work. And having my daughter actually had to turn hers in. So her kids just had to do it. So like trying to get them invested in doing that. So Charity, you want to tell how we did that and how we engaged them?
Sure. So I'll just introduce myself. I'm Charity Goodwin. Tremaine and I are biological sisters. When we smile, you can tell. And so, like she said, we started Black Genius School. But maybe I'll let you all kind of ask what questions you want to ask. We are a virtual learning community that meets once a month to teach Black and African history to K through 5, essentially. And so that's who we are and what our mission is, to be a Black History family movement to support families helping their children cultivate a positive self-identity.
Okay. So
Monique,
I'm ready.
Monique. Wait a minute, Monique. Wait.
All right. Okay. Go ahead. Okay.
I gotta ask this question.
Okay.
First of all, your two sisters, biological sisters that are working together. Just that by itself, because families don't always work well together, right? So I definitely want you to talk about that. But something intrigued me. You say you started this during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That part. How? Like, I mean, literally, we all have had to shift, but you guys shifted into a business. What were you doing before the pandemic? Then how'd you come together, decide to do this, especially as sisters, family?
Sure. So I'll say what I did before the pandemic. So I worked full time in the medical health industry. In addition to that, I was getting my coaching business off the ground. So coaching women and, empowering, embracing and elevating their story and transcending, narratives, things like that. I have since had to take a little hiatus from that to kind of focus on where we are now. So that's pretty much, and then just been a single mom. That was my life prior to the pandemic. So Charity.
So I still work. So I'm a pastor. That's who I am and what I do, how I live and be in the world. In addition to as well coaching certifications, emotional intelligence. I'm certified in the work of Dr. Brene Brown's research. So these are things that I sort of bring into the spiritual realm, and that's what I do. So, but when the pandemic hit, you're a mama. So that's what I was doing, was trying to be a mama to keep these babies, engaged and answering these questions and filling out these packets that we had. Like Tremaine said, I literally was about to be relocating to St. Louis when the pandemic hit, moving from 2 hours away. And I was trying to figure out how to get a house and all these things. And it was like, you probably just need to stay here with your sister. And so I lived with my sister, which we hadn't lived together since high school. And, and we were trying to support our babies and learning. So yeah, it basically, when we started sharing that, like everybody, here's what we're trying to do. Here's how we're trying to keep our heads above water, sharing Black history with the kids. And they're actually, taking to it and asking for more. And so we would make posts on Facebook, just, what we're doing. And then people started saying, our kids need that. Can we help? Can we join Black Genius School? And we were like, what? Like, we're just doing a thing, just trying to, keep everyone together. And so eventually we just said, like, are y'all serious? Because we're going to do a camp, like a 1 week science camp and science week. And people signed up. And it was something that said, come do this with us. And then people paid us. And we were like, okay.
Yeah, not only did they pay us, they were like, okay, what's next?
Yeah,
right. Like, we didn't even think about that. We were just having fun with our children, basically. Just trying to keep them engaged over the summer. And, my Charity has 2 boys and I have a daughter. And the 2 youngest, they're like a year apart, and they love science and doing things like that. And that's kind of, my hidden passion is science. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to take a week off of work and I'm just going to do things with them for a week, and I'll infuse Black history into all of these experiments. And yeah, we had like 5 families show up, and they've been with us pretty much since. So yeah, it really found us.
You know what? Let's unpack this a little bit, because I want to. I feel like that there is a little bit more. Why is it, out of all of the things, now we talked about the packets, we talked about the homework, talked about being in a pandemic, and this business was birthed through a pandemic. So this is another pandemic success story. But out of all of the subjects that you could have taught, all of the subjects, and you love science, Tremaine, why did you choose to teach Black history? What was the importance of that? And what was special about that to you?
Sure. I think it really came out of my daughter, she's a history buff, but she loves Black history. So she has these little Black history flashcards. And so when at that time Charity was at the table with them talking about things, she was saying, well, can we do Black history tomorrow? Can we look at my flashcards? Can we do this? And so finally it was like, yeah, bring it in. Let's talk about it. And then we just started, like, off the top of our heads, or, Google real quick, different things that they would have in their packets and say, hey, well, did you know this? Or when we were growing up, we went to this particular event and we learned about this person. And so that's where it really started it. And even the name Black Genius School came from our children. We did not make that up. We wanted them to be invested in the time that they spent at the table, which was like 4 hours a day. And we said, hey, what do you guys want to call your school? And they came up with Black Genius School.
Wow.
So, I mean, that image in itself, that they see themselves as geniuses, we just ran with it, Yeah, Charity, I don't.
Yeah, I think what Tremaine is really, alluding to is that we really take a child-centered approach. So early on, everything that they liked is what we would do. So from what books to read to what people to focus on, it was their voice. And so, even our affirmation T, says I'm a voice that deserves to be heard. Like we try to parent that way even, right? So it's not just do what I say and whatever, but like we can have some conversations. And sometimes we got to put a period at the end of the sentence, but we still are trying to cultivate that they have voice. And so here's a way that we were able to continue doing that through Black Genius School. So even our geniuses today, they say what country they want to learn about. We study one African country each semester, and they pick which country they want to study as role models. And so to her credit, to say this is something we want to participate in, primarily because there are also these two Black women doing it. I know her personally, but still, like, I just had no idea how, that would be the reality for some of our children. And then the scenario that you mentioned, people moving from one place to another, and then all of a sudden you end up, as my one friend says, one of a few chocolate drops, and it's a little different. Right? That he's a little different. And so, we've had children be on the screen sometimes. There was one family, also a biracial family, that they were on the screen for the first time, and one little boy just stared at another little boy who was beautiful brown, and he just, I don't know if he'd ever seen anyone like quite like another kid like him. Right? Like his dad is beautiful brown, but he saw another kid that like looked like him, and he just like fixated. And so just the community being present, like we ain't got to do nothing but show up on the screen, and we, people ministering, if you will,
yes,
like that,
absolutely,
feeling happening just by being there.
Wow. I think that's so awesome. And one of the things I want to know, because our time is drawing short. So what is really next for you guys? Because I know you're just getting started, but I'm very visual. So I honestly can see.
Oh, yeah.
Literally the impact that this is going to have, just and your digital, which is, I love that. So anybody, I'm assuming, can be a part of this, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes. So what is next for you guys? Because I'm sure the audience wants to know.
And they do
want to hold of you, all of that.
They want to know how to
see
kids online, right? Can kids join online, and is there an age group? Then we also had a question: do you have classes for adults? Okay.
Oh yeah, we get that all the time.
Funny, Monique. I was sitting here going, "What are the adults?" Right?
Yes.
we had our first adult enroll this year. So it's the thing. We'll kind of call them friends of Black Genius School, and they'll have to make sure they leave room for the babies the geniuses to do their thing. But our enrollment is open right now. We have a semester from February to May. We meet once a month on the second Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. And so if you go to blackgeniusschool.com right now, you can to see the outline of our curriculum, what we'll be studying and teaching, from activism to geniuses actually facilitating one of the classes themselves, having a genius-led session. And so, so that's what's most immediate in our world right now is enrollment for Black Genius School. And we hear all of the potentialities. We hear them all the time, and we're hopeful. We still have full-time jobs and trying to do what we do. But this is something that we definitely feel chose us, that we feel called to do, and we're going to figure out continually how to make it work and make it available to the point that this year, for the first time, we are offering what we're calling sort of an equitable investment. And so there's really no reason that anyone can't participate in Black Genius School for the financial component of it. And so, you pay what you can pay. And so we trust in the community to choose and select that pricing in that respect. So that's who we are. That's what we're about right now. And definitely the sky's the limit. We'll see where we end up.
So just as a sidebar, I just to say this is a sidebar. I'm sure you guys have your email on your website, correct? I'm assuming.
Sure.
I'm saying that because I my niche is nonprofit, but I'm in the grant world. There's a lot of money out there for what you do. I'm just putting that out there. So
yes.
Thank you.
Send you guys an email just
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
so
you.
you can see
Thank
what's
you.
out there. I just had to say
Yes.
that just dropped.
So listen, this is what the Sis Network is about. Okay, so I know when you got on this call, because as we're listening, and this is how connected me and Sandra are, we're both thinking 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, right? We see the bigger, like we're part of the school already. We see the bigger, right? That's what we're like. Oh, we see increased enrollment. Okay, and I just said on I affirmations yesterday morning, I was like, this is the year of elevation and expansion.
Absolutely.
And as you speak into your students, right, we want to also speak into you, because what you're doing is so special, and what you're doing is great, and what you're doing is virtual. And this is the time and the year of expansion and elevation. So your enrollment is going to increase. You've connected.
We'll take that.
You connected with listen. Not you connected with someone who is going to reach out and help you. There are students that I cannot wait till my grandson, I'm assuming 5 is the starting age, so he turns 5. Like, I was ecstatic because he is going to preschool now at a HBCU. So those things,
awesome.
I'm like, yes, I'm excited. But for him to have this type of education and additional curriculum would be absolutely powerful. So I already know he's going to be a bad brother. Okay. With this combination, our children, sky is the limit. So hats off to you. You are doing an absolutely wonderful thing. Listen, audience. I just want you to know, please like and share, watch the YouTube, share the link. If you have children in the K through 5 age group, this is where they need to be on Saturdays. You know, they're in front of their phones, they're in front of their iPads, they're in front of the computers anyway. Why not have them in front of something that's educational, where they can learn about our history, Black history, African history, and about our culture, and from women that look like us, okay, and that are really going to give the education that's needed. And I love the approach and the strategies. And what I will say is that I remember being little, watching the stories of Martin Luther King and watching the different stories, and how bad I felt when I would see when they would spray the hose on them, you know, and I was different violent acts. And it really, I'm like, goodness, I don't know how I feel. But when you talked about Black Wall Street and the way you explained the strategy and how you explained how that took place, you don't give them an opportunity to dwell on that sad and that negative part. You bring the triumph in and how they overcame the obstacles. So I just want to thank you so much. Listen, you can find Black Genius School, www.blackgeniusschool.com. There is currently open enrollment. Sandra, you want to add anything in before we say goodnight?
No, I'm just ecstatic. You guys, the sky is the limit. Please, guys, like, share this post, because our kids need it. And I will be reaching out to the both of you.
Thank you both.
Thank you all so much.
Opportunity to share.
Want to add before we sign off?
Well, we always sign off by saying stay genius.
Stay genius.
Stay genius.
Love it.
Well, okay, so look, we're going to count that down. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1 on the count of 1. Stay genius. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Stay genius. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.